One of my favorite things about the NBA is how unpredictable it is. The NBA can be really fun when the unpredictable stuff isn't happening to your team. Unless it's like good unpredictable stuff, then you welcome it, of course. But in this situation, I've said it in past videos, I really do feel bad for Brooklyn Nets fans. Because let's remember all of the talent that the Brooklyn Nets had before Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant sort of came in and moved everything around. D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen. Look, I can go on. All of these guys are no longer in Brooklyn. And while you can argue that some of these guys would have found their way to another situation anyways, my point still remains. I feel like anybody that watches basketball games could have seen the monstrous potential that Jared Allen had. I can't believe that him or DeAndre Jordan was ever a discussion. Maybe that's why there were rumors that DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen's roles created internal conflicts in 2019. I can't imagine how Kenny Atkinson felt about everything that went down. He helped to build an identity and a culture that would attract the likes of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, only to be pushed out in favor of Steve Nash. I actually like Steve Nash a lot, and I'm sure he's an amazing assistant. But as a head coach, I just need to see more at this time. I'll give the Brooklyn Nets their props. They swung for the fences and they missed. I'll never get mad at a franchise for trying. I think most franchises would have acquired Kevin Durant if they could. The same way that I think most franchises would like to acquire Kevin Durant right now if the asking price wasn't through the roof. I think Richard Jefferson made some really valid points when addressing the topic of the Brooklyn Nets simply asking for maybe more than they'll be able to get.
It reminds me of when Kobe Bryant asked for a trade. Remember when the Lakers
on the radio?
Yeah, well, he was talking about, he wanted to get traded, and then there was a lot of conversation about Chicago. And then they were like, well, this is our asking price for Kobe Bryant in his prime, and Chicago, they were going to, take everything that they can, and Kobe was like, nah, I'm good, because if I go there, there's not going to be anything to play with. So it is a lot trickier. Kevin Durant, might be better off, I'm just saying, he'd be better off staying in Brooklyn if he's going to go to a team with no other superstar, no potential all-star, no other talent. I think it's a lot more complicated than I think people understand, because Kevin Durant's not just leaving Brooklyn for a change of scenery. He's leaving Brooklyn because he wants to go compete for a championship. So you can't take all the pieces, add Kevin Durant, and be like, here you go.
In my opinion, Richard Jefferson provides some pretty good insight. He also has a pretty cool TikTok account that I suggest that you guys check out. Now, to address Richard Jefferson's take on this Kevin Durant situation, I agree with him in some aspects, because I do agree with the fact that the Brooklyn Nets are asking for so much that if Kevin Durant does get traded, he might not be going to the best basketball situation. What if he does get traded to a team that absolutely guts its roster to get him? Kevin Durant doesn't have a no trade clause. He has 4 years left on his contract. There are going to be some small market teams that look at getting Kevin Durant as the opportunity of a lifetime. Personally, I think getting Kevin Durant is a great opportunity if the value is right. But as of right now, I think that the value is completely off of the charts and something that I would not be interested in. Now, you guys can say whatever you want about that down in the comments below, but all I ask is that you be respectful. Windhorst has said that he's been told that the Nets are saying that they want multiple under 25-year-old all-stars or potential all-stars in exchange for Kevin Durant. Now, we know that Ben Simmons' contract complicates everything, but if the right package came along, then Ben Simmons would get moved. Oh, by the way, is this a bad time to bring up that Ben Simmons just deactivated his IG account? Now, to add more fuel to this whole situation, it's looking like the Rudy Gobert trade has made everything worse. HoopsHype is reporting that the asking price remains high for 12-time All-Star Kevin Durant, and that high is expected to go up following the boatload of draft picks the Timberwolves gave up to acquire Rudy Gobert. I don't even want to speak on that Rudy Gobert trade yet, because I'm going to do a whole breakdown and video on it very soon. All I'm going to say is that trade made the Kevin Durant market that was already booming way, way worse. Now, this Kevin Durant trade request is really weird to me, because it's looking like Kevin Durant wants to go to a really good team, but he doesn't want that really good team to lose any of its really good players. For example, Sam Amick reported that it seems Kevin Durant would only want to play on a Heat team that includes Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Kyle Lowry. How are the Miami Heat supposed to put together a competitive offer for Kevin Durant that doesn't include any of those players? If I'm the Brooklyn Nets and the offer isn't absolutely mind-blowing at this point in time, I'm probably hanging up the phone. And that's actually what the reports are saying right now. As I've stated earlier, Bobby Marks has recently said that there's no guarantee that Durant is moved. We could get into training camp with him still being on the Nets roster. I saw a tweet earlier, and it made a really good point. It basically said that some players are going to see how valuable they are to their franchises. Players that thought they were unavailable are going to become available. Even though there are so many teams interested in Kevin Durant at this moment, there are only a handful of teams that can probably satisfy what the Brooklyn Nets really want, with one of those teams being the Toronto Raptors. Reportedly, the Raptors believe that they can build the best package for Kevin Durant, who's at least open to the idea of playing in Toronto. Toronto has a bright future, it has a ton of talent, and it's a great city. But if you trade for Kevin Durant, what does your roster look like after that trade? Would you be able to keep Scottie Barnes? Apparently, the Toronto Raptors have remained fixed on keeping Rookie of the Year Scottie Barnes out of any package that they're offering for KD. If you were a Raptors fan, would you even want to trade for Kevin Durant? I believe that no question is a dumb question. That's why I'm asking it. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you would trade for Kevin Durant, what would be your breaking point and what would you be willing to offer? The unfortunate side of these rumors is that it's real life. This isn't 2K. When you are a player and your name starts to get included in these rumors, you start to feel some type of way, or you can feel some type of way towards the franchise that has vowed its loyalty to you, or you thought. As you guys know, the New Orleans Pelicans recently got a major commitment from Zion Williamson. 2 years before that, they got a major commitment from Brandon Ingram. Not only did they get commitment from these two young all-stars, but they also have been building one of the best cultures in the NBA. Also, the talent speaks for itself. This team is young, but it's also ready to win now. I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the Pelicans take a massive leap next season. Here's a reminder that this team had 3 rookies playing major rotational minutes in the NBA playoffs. Those guys are only going to get better. The roster is only going to become more cohesive. New Orleans has had problems in the past getting players to commit. Now you got Brandon Ingram, you got Zion Williamson, inked to major deals. CJ has said he wants to retire a Pelican. I mean, come on, you even got BI on IG saying things like they didn't believe in us. The Pelicans did to Jose Alvarado. There's a lot of love between BI and the city of New Orleans. Maybe in some warped reality, the Pelicans would be able to acquire Kevin Durant without trading Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson. But even through the negotiations, you have to imagine that their names would be floated around if there was ever any potential of that happening. And again, the chances of that happening are extremely low, especially if Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson weren't included in the deal. That brings me to the point of, is it worth even damaging your team's locker room if you don't have a great chance at getting Kevin Durant? And if you have to include Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson in a potential Kevin Durant deal, again, is getting Kevin Durant really worth it?
So here's the Pelicans card they're going to play from what I'm told. Willie Green, who is their well-respected, well-liked head coach, was an assistant in Golden State when Durant was there. And again, what they would like is for the Nets, if they liked the option, to let them speak with Durant and let Willie attempt to sell the vision that they have and use that relationship that they have. And, you know, again, the idea here is, just like Masai is charismatic and you just get him in the room, they think that Willie is charismatic and that's their sort of weapon here, and get him in the room with Kevin. I don't know if Kevin would allow such a meeting to happen. Just because the Nets would grant doesn't mean Kevin would allow it. I still would have to put the odds on favorite to be Phoenix, because even though I'm looking at New Orleans in a vacuum, I think New Orleans and Toronto maybe make better offers. I've just been around long enough to know that when a player like this wants something, he gets it.
Well, and it's
James
not
Harden
like,
wanted Brooklyn, he got it. James Harden wanted Philly, he got it.
Right.
I mean, it
2
happened.
years later.
As much as I love KD, he comes with his own set of problems, and there's a chance that he wouldn't even want to play in New Orleans. This is somebody that's turning 34 this year and comes with their own injury history. One of the reasons that the Pelicans were so good last season was because they were incredibly bought in. They believed in the vision that Willie Green had. How would they react if they found out that Willie Green was trying to get them shipped out for KD? And again, I'm not saying that any team trading for Kevin Durant wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'm just saying that in the Pelican situation, there is a dilemma that we have to pick a side on. In the comments below, let me know if you'd do a deal for Kevin Durant if it included Brandon Ingram. I saw some shades of greatness from Brandon Ingram in this year's playoffs. If there's one thing that I'm not a fan of, it's shrinking your own window to win. Going win now via free agency, or if you have to, makes a ton of sense. For instance, I'd love to see Portland make a move for KD. I actually have to talk about the Portland Trail Blazers in one of my upcoming videos. In the comments below, let me know what team you would most like to see trade for Kevin Durant. I've seen a lot of noise about him going to Phoenix, and I think that would be interesting if Phoenix was able to keep some key pieces of its core. The crazy thing with this Kevin Durant stuff is I think we're seeing a lot of preliminary stuff go on right now. I think in the near future, we're going to see some very serious details being leaked. And I honestly just hope that there are details that messes over nobody's locker room. Also in the comments below, let me know how KD demanding a trade looks for his legacy. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.